Hello, everyone. So excited to meet you tonight or today or this afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. As a matter of fact, this is our second episode of from zero to Shero. And I'm very excited to bring my guest to you all tonight, where we are in Hong Kong. So if you would type it your name and let us know who you are and also where you're tuning in from, that would be awesome. So before we dive into our second episode of From Zero to Shero, let me explain what this podcast or video podcast is all about and who we are. So I am the chair lady of Global G100 Networking. And what G100 is a global network of change makers. We come from all different countries around the world, and we are some very proactive and very optimistic and really high action people from all different sectors, and we're champions. We support this SDG number 5, which is gender equality, and we also want to bring in all kinds of people from all different sectors like trade, education, policy making, and so forth and so on to come together so that we can push, go ahead and make sure that every girl, every woman achieve their dreams without any fear or overwhelm or get hindered by perfectionism and all those good things, right? So from zero to Shero is really more like a hot talk, a hot chat. And in every episode, we try to encourage different leaders or leaders to come on and share how they achieve their breakthroughs on a daily basis, what kind of secrets or systems they use. So after this little introduction, let me tell you who I am. My name is Shirley Whing Chow, and I'm the founder and director of Whing Resilience Success Coaching in Hong Kong. And I like to call myself as like a resilient Jedi. And those who are familiar with Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to talk too much about myself, my titles, and all that, but I want to bring my guest to say hi to everybody. So, Polly Chen, hi. Can you say hi to everyone?
To
Polly, I
my
feel you. Okay.
story.
Hi, Polly. Yes, you just came on your mic. So let's
Okay.
have you say hi again.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Polly. I'm the founder of Thrive Hong Kong. So happy to share my story with everyone tonight.
Great. So Polly is not just a regular kind of leader. Polly is the founder of Thrive Hong Kong, the regional director of CLS Asia. She is also a trainer for a multitude of disciplines and skills like situational leadership, DISC, DIST, HPTI, GIA, and something else I can't even, I don't want to mispronounce. She is a serial entrepreneur and also an HR and ESG guru. Okay, so there's a lot to digest there. So Polly, why don't you tell our audience how we met?
Okay, I think we need to talk about something happened like 4 years ago. At that time, Shirley, she also tried to think about what's next for her future. So she's kind of thinking whether she might set up her own NGO. So she connect me to a common friend. That's how we met like 4 years ago.
You actually came to my second charity fundraising concert, didn't you?
Yes, with my whole family.
Yeah, that was so amazing. And at the time, I was really starting from zero as someone who wanted to promote emotional wellness and also the education of emotional and social intelligence to the community.
Mhm.
And without knowing much, because my background is a musician, so I used charity concerts to raise awareness. And you were there, and you gave me so much kind of what do you call it, pointers, so many pointers, and really just a pat on my shoulder to tell me it's okay, just one step at a time. And so that fits in so perfectly with uh, our slogan, which is from zero to Shero. And I also want to let the audience know, because some of the audiences actually today, they are from the G100 sisterhood. And I actually mentioned Polly and Thrive Hong Kong about 2, 3 weeks ago in all places, actually in Portugal, in Cascais. And we were having a G100 global networking meeting. There were different people from all over the world coming together, female leaders, male leaders, and we had a great time. And in the topic, during one of the speeches that I gave, the topic was the impact of women across 5 continents. So I felt so obliged. I had to mention Thrive Hong Kong and Polly Chan. So, Polly, let's dive into some of our questions. So, before anyone knows who you are today, what were you like as a child or a teenager?
Okay, I grew up from a very ordinary family in Hong Kong. So actually, I might actually call myself, I came from a grassroots background. And then I was just fortunate enough to study in a English secondary school. Um, but I mean, when I was young, I also experienced some teenage challenge. I was bullied when I was studying like at secondary school. So what I learned from my teenage, that is, I try to reflect on myself, whether there's a reason for someone else. They why wouldn't they like me? Maybe there's something I could improve. But after that, I try to really do everything I can to share by myself. And then when I'm ready, I stood up for what I believe. So this is part of my teenage experience. I don't know whether that is a common experience for many one, maybe from the live chat as well.
Yeah, if you've ever been bullied and you use that as like a self reflection uh, opportunity, right? Instead of always blaming others, right? Sometimes we just have to find out what it is that maybe we have been doing or maybe we have been attracting energetically, right? Of course, this is not to say that every time we get bullied is always, because of us. But that kind of a self reflection is really a great example of self awareness, right? First
Yes.
thing we have to know is to make sure that we are doing all we can to be our best selves. And after that, if something still happens negative, that means maybe the situation or the environment is not right for us. Now, you as a situational leader, leadership coach, how did you become that, or how did you even, become this guru, like an HR guru and all that? What was your journey?
I would say when I was young, I always like to reflect. And what I reflect is I also like everyone else. Hey, what will I do in the future? I realized one thing about my personality. I just naturally I can talk to anyone. If in the Chinese slangs, then I can talk to someone from the age of 3 to someone at the age of 80 easily.
Wow.
Okay. So I just realized that I like to be around with people. I like to help out other people. So when I after almost like graduating from my first degree, I first of all I want to be a social worker, but later on I realized that I can cry easily. That means when I feel like someone needs help, and I just feel so emotional about that situation. So I think being social worker, a crying social worker all day, it might not be the best thing for the clients. So later on, I try to find another like path where I can spend time with people, I can contribute to their well-being, but I won't be spend time crying. Okay,
Too
so
much
I
empathy, yeah.
yes. So I actually, after graduation, I start to really focus on HR. So I work in multiple global companies in my first 20 years of my career. So in my
Wow.
last in-house job, I was the regional head of HR for a Dutch quantitative trading company, and that actually gave me another opportunity to really change into charity. Why? Because at that time, one of my tasks was to set up a charity for my last in-house company. HR and setting up a charity, kind of like two very different jobs. But like back then, like 10 years ago, when the company designed to have a different scale of presence in Hong Kong, so gave me an opportunity to think about whether I should stay behind to really like take over and took over the charity. So that's the beginning of my charity career. And but in the last 10 years, I still keep searching about my own passion. So one of my biggest passion is actually to really influence and coach leaders for
Hmm.
every company. If the leaders are doing the right thing, everyone like enjoy the benefits. If leaders are making wrong decisions, everyone suffer from the bad decisions. So I intentionally not just doing charity, but I have been thinking about who Polly Chan is, and I found out my personal biggest passion is actually to help corporate leaders to become a better corporate leaders. So I really learned to become a coach, and now I even become the certified trainer for situational leadership. So charity is still a big part of me, but it become my community services. If that explains my very complicated journey.
Right. It's like the hero's journey, right? Yours is a Shero's journey. There's the call to action, some kind of a setback, right? If you know the book, The Hero's Journey, then I'm sure you know all those different stages of evolvement or evolution. Now, I found it very interesting. You were talking about the Dutch program that you helped manage and lead. It wasn't it the IMC program?
Yep. Yep.
Right. So, can you tell our audience a little bit about that? Because I don't know what you call it, a serendipity or coincidence or fate or whatever. That was exactly before you came to my concert 4 or 5 years ago. That was, I think, maybe even 8, 9 years ago.
Yes.
I actually joined that IMC program and I found it to be so different, so unique, and so meaningful because that program actually puts together all kinds of different volunteers from all walks of life speaking English to these underprivileged children. So I let you tell our audience a little bit about that.
Okay, so for our charity, actually the whole concept was not coming from me. I actually learned the whole concept from our mother program. That's called IMC Weekend School, based located in the Netherlands. Okay,
Yeah.
next year it will be the 25th anniversary for IMC Weekend School. So
Wow.
let me tell you back the story until like 2009, while I was still the head of HR. And at that time, my Dutch boss asked me, "Hey, Polly, we want you to set up a charity in Hong Kong." And I asked him, "Hey, what shall we do?" He said, "We have a pretty good program in the Netherlands called IMC Weekend School." And then I asked him, "What is it about?" Basically, for IMC Weekend School, they target to help the underprivileged children in the Netherlands. So even for developed countries like the Netherlands, they still have a lot of immigrants or
Right.
children. So
Yes.
same for Hong Kong. We also have a lot of immigrant like children's. When they came to Hong Kong, they do not speak our native dialect. In Hong Kong is Cantonese, and also Hong Kong is an international city, so there's another language that's English. So in both like countries or cities, for the students there, for the children there, if they do not really master the local language,
Yeah.
not even to talk about to have an even bigger aspiration in their life. So
Right.
for their parents, usually they will do some kind of service oriented labor intensive work. So their aspiration for life usually is not that high as well. So it's more like a vicious cycle. So what both program we want to combat is actually for those children, they might not have a really good financial background, but what they are in common is they are usually lack of self-confidence. So in order to change the life prospect for those children, our program we aim to really enhance its self-confidence through the exposure of 16 different subjects in a matter of like 24 months. Someone like Shirley, we also invite them as our volunteers. They are not only like teaching English, but they are also sharing their own cultures, their perspective for life. So the children, when they join the class, they are not just learning about their subject matter, but they are also learning from their life view from the volunteers, like someone like Shirley. So with that very intensive interactions with like volunteers in a matter of 15 Sundays over 2 years, those children, they start to believe, hey, I have a brighter future. I have a brighter future because there's something I found out that I really, really like, or they also find there's something I really, really don't like. So they
Yeah.
feel really, really like charged up to focus in the future for just something they like.
That is such a great point. For everything we want to do, there's always the opposite. We also know what we don't want, right? It's
Yeah.
always that balance. And I think this is such a golden nugget what you brought out, uh, the message that we need to really hone in or boost our communication skills, whether it is being an expert. Now, I want our audience, if you have actually worked or lived in a place or a country outside of your own, you have been an expat at some point of your life, I would like you to type and let us know in the chat. For example, I have worked for my case. I spent almost half my life in America as an expat and then later on as an immigrant, right? So I really understand what you were saying. If we do not master this main language in which, right, you dwell or you live or you work, sometimes it's really our language, sometimes it's actually what people, how people communicate with each other. It's not only a matter of a verbal language, sometimes it's the cultural practices and sensitivities and everything, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all those are also part of social intelligence, not just emotional intelligence of that awareness, but
Exactly.
also other awareness. Yeah, so that is such a great point. So tell us a little bit about being a people person, because that is a very high skill to develop. And in our education system, I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels like there is a huge deficit right now.
Okay. As a people person, I will say that give us a lot of advantage because when you are willing to reach out to other people, be open to their point of view, and then you also play out with your active listening, the world is much bigger for you. So I will say, if you're ready to talk with other people and be like inclusive, yeah, because when you try to step in someone's shoes, being people person, usually we always are likely to be apathetic. So it's much easier for us to step into other people's shoes to understand what their challenges are before we actually even judge other people. So
Oh,
having
yeah.
that connection helps a lot.
Well, judging itself is kind of like a very dangerous loop to tread into, isn't it? You can actually slide all the way down to the bottom and never come back. So judging, yeah. Where do you think judging comes from as a leader, right? We do need to assess our employees or our teammates. So how do we, you as you know, you have so many different disciplines of training. So how, and I also know that there are, besides situational leadership, there's also effective leadership and all kinds of different
Mhm.
leadership styles. So, what is the advantage of situational leadership?
Yeah, I think situational leadership is a call for nowadays leadership challenge because many times when someone think of leadership, they almost like equal it as a position title. It seems
Right.
like only someone holding a very like senior position title then ever need to listen to them. But if we as a individual, we know that we don't know everything, right?
Yeah.
So even as a leader, they don't know everything.
Nope.
So consider that if leadership equals to position title, the world will not improve. So situational leadership is actually to empower everyone. You can be a leader as long as you have the intention to influence the behavior of the other person, of a group of people. So just like now, if I want to talk to Shirley, I say, "Hey Shirley, can we say good evening to everyone?" Shirley, can you
Good
say good evening?
evening. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah. So now I'm just practicing. If I have the intention to ask someone to do something that I want them to, first of all, I need to understand whether Shirley is able to say, "Hey, good evening." But how about
Right.
whether Shirley want to say it or not? So when
Yeah.
I just ask her, Shirley's kind of, "Oh, what you want me to say?" But she trusts me. So without a
Right.
second thought, she just follow. So as a situational leader, it's exactly the same. Do we know what we want to influence the other person to do? Is this
Ah.
something that someone is able or not able? Or whether that person is willing or not willing? With the mix of that level of understanding, we will be able to influence other people to do what we want and the other person do it happily as well,
Right. So it is empathy plus influence plus compassion, would you say?
with clarity as
Ah,
well,
that's true.
because you have to really tell people exactly what you want them to do. Without that clarity of the direction, even someone is very motivated, they won't achieve the result you want. That is what situational is all about.
So when you discovered you had this innate sense or talent, right, of connecting with people, and you developed yourself over the years, tell me why you kept learning all these different disciplines. Wasn't one or two or three enough? Because you have a lot under your belt.
Yeah, I would say I'm a avid learner. I really like learning. I would say I can actually learn something from everyone because my
Right.
point of view of other people is everyone is a talent.
Everyone
If
is a talent.
you if you really like carry that like perspective, if you try to see everyone as a talent, that means there's anything you can learn. So for me, usually I will try to categorize how I learn. I would say whether I want to learn something about mindset or whether I can learn something about skill set or whether I want to learn something about tool set. So when you say why I keep learning, because there's just anything in terms of mindset, skill set, and tool set. If what I have
Mm.
learned can help other people even more, so that become my motivation.
Yeah, I remember taking that leadership assessment with you a couple of years ago when I just left a long time employment and kind of jumped into the big ocean of entrepreneurship, not knowing whether I have gone insane or I have just gone into a different level of consciousness, right? And having the test results showing me my strengths really helped me focus on,
Mm.
like you were saying, the talent, right? I think, when we talk about going from zero to Shero, I'm sure you can comment on this. We need to make the choice of focusing on our strengths and using our strengths to work around our weaknesses. Don't you agree?
Um, I will interpret a little bit differently.
Okay.
Um, I came from a DISC background,
Yeah.
so we always look at people like, hey, your natural strength. But if you keep using your strength, it might become your limitation. I don't know whether
Ah.
that makes sense. I can give you an
Okay.
example. Yeah. For example, someone like me, I'm a people person. So I always care about other people's well being. But sometimes maybe the other person, they just want to have some private time, me time. If I just feel the urge, are you okay? I keep checking in. Maybe it's too
Uh-huh.
much. So maybe sometimes we as a human being, I also feel tired at times. So,
Right.
but if just because I feel like other needs my attention, needs my caring, so I keep caring about other people without taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that become my limitation as well. So how to draw that line, how to make that balance is something we need to learn. Okay. But there's another new perspective is when you try to do something, when you try to make decision whether you will do it or not, that has to be according to your strength, your motivation. But
Right.
sometimes why you don't do something is because it actually touch on your fear. So
Right.
this is another tips about like knowing yourself. Okay.
Right. 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 So when you were asked to start a charity, your first charity, and now that you have started Thrive Hong Kong, which is your second one, am I correct? Or
I will
more,
say
yeah.
it it's a journey. That the first name is called IMC Sunday School
Uh
for
huh.
the first like 6 years, and then
Okay.
it was renamed as I Future Teens for 2 years because I was partnering with another funder, and then
Mm-hmm.
after like 8 years, we came to a point that we want to reflect. So at that time, we helped more than 500 underprivileged children and their families, devoted more than 45,000 service hours already during that period.
45,000.
45,000 service
Wow.
hours. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of
Okay,
hours.
okay. So we actually put a stop for 1 year and reflect on what shall we do in the future. So in the year of 2018, we actually encouraged by our ambassadors. Those ambassadors, they are the returned alumni from our previous charity, and they speak to me and my charity partner Lillian, saying that, hey, Polly and Lillian, the program did wonder for us, so why don't you do it? And I told them, hey, you guys and you girls, you better come back,
Come back,
because
yeah?
yeah, you better come back because you are the best example to show the world what we did. So because right at that moment when they return, they have been finding their own path. So five youth ambassador return, and one study BBA, the other study Earth system, one study biology, one study culinary management, one study
Or culinary
hospitality,
arts, yeah? Culinary
culinary
management.
art, and
Yeah.
also the last one is hospitality. They
Wow.
found out what they liked when they were really young. Those
In
are
your
really
program,
yeah,
right?
because our program with some of the themes that actually inspire them, that can be their future career. Okay.
Right. So your journey of developing all these programs, what were some of the more challenging ideas that you have to, or roadblocks or challenges that you had to really tackle?
Yeah, I will say for our present moment, Thrive
Yeah.
Hong Kong is a really like a baby charity. Because in the system of Hong Kong, we need to apply to what we call the Chapter 80A
Okay.
as a status approved by the Hong Kong Taxation Department, so we can officially take in donation, and those corporates or individual, if they donate to us, they can also enjoy the tax benefit through our donation. So our current situation is, because we are a baby NGO again, so fundraising is really like a huge challenge for us. We have the program, we have everything, but we just need the funding to support us so we can continue and help more children.
Right. So I'm sure you have a team of two people helping you right now, and you also have a lot of children. If I'm not mistaken, you have three or five. What's the number of
Me
children you
personally,
have?
three. I have
Three.
girl, and son.
You have two girls and a son. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so, how do you balance your professional life and your personal life? Do you have any tips that you can share with the audience?
I don't know whether I'm a good example or not. I would say when I do things, I am very focused. So this
Mm,
is how I teach my children as well. So when I need to really focus on my career, or when I need to do something, I will give them a heads up. Hey, mom is going to do this and that from this time and until that time. So can you help me out? So this is how they are being nurtured since they were young. So they know that they are part of my success. So I
ah,
need their help to support me to be successful. So when they need someone to help, for example, even when they need someone to help them on their study, I say, is that possible? If you, for my son, my younger son, I would say, hey, can you ask your elder sister to help, or can you first try it by yourself? If you can do it, or if you can wait for me, please, I need your help. So if my family being very supportive and give me the time I need, so I can really focus externally. So I would say time management and managing expectation
right.
are the two things that I do every day.
And did you learn? this kind of communication or setting, expectations from your own parents, or you just have to kind of find your way as you became a mother?
I will say it's it just came along, but I learned a lot through my professional career because I was the head of HR. What's my role? My daily role is I listen to everyone's complaints or I listen to everyone's struggle or when my boss or when the department has they want me to speak to someone else so I can coach them. So those are things I listen the most. That is, if you can manage expectation well, so you solve half of the problem. So I practice
Mm.
expectation management every day.
Wow. And how exactly do you do that? Are there any rituals? Like, you always set up a time at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, have a little family conference or things like that?
I will actually speak to my children the day before.
Mm-hmm.
That's my daily ritual because I know what I'm going to do. When will I come back home? So if they know it, they won't call me, okay? Or they won't message me. So if there's an urgency, of course they can do it, but they know when they can see me, so they feel very like comfortable waiting me back home. That's
Ah.
how I do it.
So in a way, I would say, because I've been back to Hong Kong for 14 years now from the US, and you know how the style of parenting basically is quite different. Even
Mhm.
though I understand that as the world has become so competitive, Asia isn't the only place that has, developed all these tiger mums or dragon ladies, right? Or
Mhm.
hover mums, helicopter mums. So you are actually, because you focus so much on helping your clients and also building your charity, you have put a lot of trust in your children, haven't you?
Yes, I am. I am. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I I will say I just want them to know um, I trust them. But at the same time, I also want them to know if they need me, they they should tell me.
Mm-hmm.
So actually is um, the other how should I say it? Actually, because my children they love me so much, many times even they have their own challenge they try to let me finish my work first. So
Wow.
I should say thank you. I should be very grateful for their patience with me. Yeah.
That sounds to me like you do use gratitude a lot, don't you?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I start everything with gratitude. Yeah. Because if you take things for granted, there's no reason for the other person to spend the time for you. So I
Mm.
don't take things for granted. I appreciate every opportunity, even sometimes it can become a challenge. I also appreciate the challenge because without the challenge, another door won't open. That's my personal
Right.
philosophy. Yeah,
So in a way, when a challenge comes, is actually an opportunity to grow, wouldn't you say?
exactly. Exactly.
Challenge is a door to empowerment. So I'm typing it. Okay, audiences, if you have any ideas that resonate or your routines resonate with Polly's, let us know. Type in the chat. I'm sure there are some moms listening from different places. There, we had a friend from Spain earlier, and of course, we are very thrilled to have Dr. Habeen. I saw her little comment earlier. Yeah. So, um, how do you think that your DNA or who you have become
Hmm.
affects the way that you have shaped your programs for these underprivileged children?
Yes. I think it's a great question. I always want to have that opportunity to share my little story, okay? Because I came from a humble background, a grassroots background. I wasn't given the opportunity to study abroad. So
Mm.
when I grew up, I'm the only person in my family with six siblings. I'm the only
Six
one who,
siblings.
yes,
Wow.
I'm the only one who graduate from a university degree. And because I didn't study abroad, so my language, for example, even for my English, I also carry accent, or I what because I never study abroad, so by default, I don't know some of the cultures, Western cultures or cultures from different countries. So
Right.
when I grew up, when I kick off my career journey, I worked for some multinational companies. At the very beginning, I was very nervous when I really like trying to interact with people coming maybe from Italy, from the
Yeah.
US, from Japan, from Korea. So I just want to make sure that I behave in the right way, but until that many practices, um, I realized actually if you don't think like that, if you believe you are just simply a global citizen, so
Mm.
there's no point comparing. I
Ah.
think to have that awareness actually empower me a lot. So I actually put that awareness. I'm just one of the global citizens. So I really want the children from my charity program to really embrace that concept. So if they don't compare themselves with other people, if he or she think we are just all equal, so that is very liberating. I
Mm.
hope that you can see from my program, from the how the ambassador thing as well. Yeah,
So try to focus on self empowerment and self progress, right? And
yeah,
not feeling the need to compare yourself to anyone, and certainly not go negative, right? Not dwell
yeah,
into these negative negativity, should I say? Because even if we feel like we're better or worse than someone else, it doesn't make it the fact or the reality,
mm,
because
yeah,
we usually only see what we want to see anyway.
yeah,
So if we want to see that we are improving, then that is what we see. Don't you see? Don't you agree? So great point there. So now I also know that you are someone who is very, very motherly to the students in your program and also to a lot of young entrepreneurs. I'm not so young, but you also kind of nurtured me when I turned into an entrepreneur a couple of years ago. So, what do you see a change in the last, say, I don't know, 20 years in terms of women coming forth to maybe develop their self leadership or entrepreneurship? Do you see a change in the quality of leadership or self empowerment?
yeah. I can echo it myself because I also got a lot of opportunities as a woman leader, and then I would say, if first of all you become a specialist or an expert in what you do, then no matter what gender you are, people will
Mm.
respect you. So really like pursuing the best you can, and then so you will gain the respect. And secondly, I would say many of the sisters around the world, they become much more vocal about their needs. So I
Ah,
think that trend helps a lot. And so I will say, if you are able to really show your expertise, that is already opening up a lot of doors for you as a woman or a girl.
so in other words, show up prepared.
Yeah,
Show up being skillful and really competent, in other words, right?
yeah, yeah. Be confident in yourself. Just not that. Just tell other people what you think. Demonstrate your strength. So other people, they will just naturally come to you because of who you are. What differences are you making?
Okay, do you have any tips for girls or maybe even women who are really discarding a long history that defined who they were, and they're embarking onto a totally different story? They know they have to do that, but they are just so afraid, so frightened, or just so kind of overwhelmed, right?
Mm,
Like we talked about before we came on, this whole idea of perfectionism, which I
mm.
have to kind of work on almost every day. Um, what are some of the most basic, maybe rituals that you think they can use, or maybe you have used,
Yeah.
that will set them slowly onto a path of confidence? Because in my training as a Canfield success principles trainer, we always talk about only doing 5%, achieving only 5% more, 5% more when it feels like you
Mhm.
can manage, and then you start building and facing the fear and do it anyway. So do you have any particular routines that help you achieve that 5% every day more confidence?
Yeah, I think it's very important that first of all, you need to find someone you trust
Ah,
because psychological safety is very important to do anything. So, what do I mean by psychological safety? For example, when you like something or you don't like something, do you feel safe to tell the other person? Do you feel
right,
safe to take feedback? Even when you say, I don't like something, if someone say, why don't you like it? If you don't take it as a challenge, you take it as an opportunity to discuss and learn more. So you are already expanding your mindset, your readiness to grow. Okay.
right.
So first of all, you need to be surrounded with people that you trust and have that level of psychological safety. Yeah, that's my number one tips.
So that's
Okay.
having a mentor or community that is supportive, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. My number two tips is we all need moments of success. What
Right.
what do I mean that is if you want to try out something, s- start with what we call the baby step. That means you try to have small win.
Small
Don't
wins.
think of big wins. Then once you have small wins, then you can start to have bigger win. So by really making a bigger challenge and got that accomplished, that is a very a good way to build your self confidence.
Right. And what about people who are not supportive, but they're really in your life, right? Maybe even paying your tuition, or,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you do with them?
I encourage people to build what I call a healthy boundary.
Building a healthy boundary. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
is,
tell us more about that, because the word boundary, even that, I've only learned that about, I don't know, like 14 years ago. Yeah. I had very poor boundaries myself for
yeah,
quite some time too. Yeah.
yeah. I would say what when I say healthy boundary is when someone sit next to you, if you don't feel comfortable, that is already a feedback system you can learn about your body.
Red
So
flag. Yeah.
every time when you talk to someone, if you don't feel comfortable,
Mm.
try to remember why didn't I feel comfortable when I talk with that person? Or maybe next time when you talk a certain subject, you don't feel comfortable discussing that subject in greater details. Remember that. So you start to collect what are the things you feel comfortable or you don't. So you start to know about yourself better and more. So next time when you talk to someone new, don't go into that certain subject matters, or you don't feel comfortable to be alone with that person. Try to be someone else before you spend time with that person you really need to in your life. So that's how I deal with like healthy boundary.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That is very important, and we a lot of times we're not being taught, right, to watch our body, what we call somatic or stressful responses. Sometimes it can be just a headache, right,
Yeah.
or the kind of sweaty palms, or twitches, migraine, right, or just the sixth sense, right.
Yes.
It is a very very good hint or tool. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so tell us a little bit about that fundraising, amazing fundraising event that you just did a week or so ago.
Yeah. Okay. The project was called Project 300 Plus. Uh, why it's called Project 300 Plus? Because there's a fundraiser called Tom Chow. Tom is a running coach. His expertise is to teach other people to do like marathon running or cycling. And then he really felt touched with the story of Thrive Hong Kong, and the why of Lillian and myself, why we spent like more than 10 years pursuing this dream. So he want to really help us out on really like having the city money to do more programs for underprivileged children. So he personally committed to run 150 kilometers plus cycling 150 kilometers within 48 hours.
So
So it,
48 hours and 300 kilometers.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So he did it actually within 42 hours.
That's outstanding. And I understand there were other people that went along with him to support him.
Yeah. So altogether, we have, I would say, almost like 30 supporters. Some
Wow.
are running what we call the running maze, some are the cycling maze. With all the supporters altogether, they had either run or cycle more than 1,000 kilometers altogether, on top of what Tom has achieved, 300 kilometers over that 42 hours.
That is phenomenal. So why do you think Tom supported your program? Was it because the program itself, because of its merits of, or also because of you?
Wow.
Because I
I
really feel like that, this podcast is called From Zero to Shero. And so much of, I think we were talking about how your DNA is your charity or your company's DNA, right?
Yeah.
So, so much of your energy has to get kind of sipping through everything that you do. Uh, and for someone, and from what I understand, he has some health challenges himself, doesn't he? Right?
Yeah, I mean, during that 42 hours, there were three times he's experienced like really extreme physical limits, and we actually worry about him as well. So he's so determined. He really trying to slow himself down, really took a good rest, and then he made it. He really made it, and we were so touched.
Yeah, I remember I was still actually in quarantine at the time when that event happened, because I was just coming back from Portugal, right? Having attended the G100 global networking meeting, and tried to run a little bit in my hotel room without tennis shoes on. But anyway, I think what I'm trying really to impress upon our audience is that I don't think when you were little, you could imagine yourself being this NGO goddess that you have become today. And I really want that our audience or their daughters or their friends or their young friends understand this concept of sometimes things will happen kind of serendipitously, and then you will be led by, like you said, the passion is so important, and your program is so beautiful in this way because you are training youngsters to follow their passion
Yeah.
and put behind themselves these fears. So hear the fears, but follow the passion anyway,
Yeah.
right? And so it is through this passion that you have brought together all these people to slowly support Thrive Hong Kong and allow it to grow. And I think that is something that I want every single woman, no matter what their personal circumstances or their career circumstances are, that they remember what you shared with us today. And that is, if the passion is there to make the change, there will be a way. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Perfectly pictured everything.
Yeah. So, what are some of your personal aspirations for the next, I don't know, next year, next 2 years?
Hmm. My number one goal is
Yeah.
I want to see Thrive Hong Kong up and running and really to kickstart our full blown cohort. So more like needy children at the age of like 10 to 12 can attend the class. And also their parents also being inspired that their children are able, and that's my goal for my next year. Okay?
And in order for you to achieve that, what needs to happen? Which kind of donation are you going to want to take, or what kind
Yeah.
of people should be talking to you, getting in touch with you to support the grassroots children or grassroots families in Hong Kong?
Number one, I we love to work with people who have shared values. No
Mm-hmm.
matter is the company, if you believe that we should be part of the solution to bring underprivileged children to give the best to them, if your corporate mission is like this, or you as a individual, maybe you are a family foundation founder, or you are someone resourceful, or you might have collectibles that you want to give it
Ah,
a good meaning,
I
so
see.
please connect
Collectible.
with us. Yeah,
Okay.
collectibles, or even your parents, if you're going to organize birthday party for your beloved children, if you can ask the friends instead of buying your little ones with birthday gifts,
Uh-huh.
you might actually donate the money to us. So that money will turn into meaningful programs to give other under-resourced children a chance to become someone confident in their life and to give back to the society as well.
Right. So yeah, a lot of people do that actually. It's great. Yeah, from all over the world. Absolutely. Patience. Thank you so much. My new friend, my adorable new friend who's living in London, who is French. Um, so, yeah, because if you were to make donations or have any ideas or maybe even collaboration
Yeah,
across the borders, right? Because the world has been flat. As far as we are concerned, the world has been flat like the great
yeah,
book for years and years. And
yeah.
obviously, yes, Patience says, I would love to do something too.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
patience.
Yes, Patience is a lovely person, very lovely lady.
Yeah.
And she does EFT tapping, which is
Oh,
also great for a lot of kids or
mhm,
ladies, moms who sometimes have some traumatic experiences in their bodies. They
mhm.
don't even know that are affecting them. They can do EFT tapping, but that's another discussion. So they can reach out to you at thrivehongkong.org. Is that right?
Yes. Please
Okay.
connect with us from our website as well.
And what about the programs? Because I have been volunteer at your program a couple of
Yeah.
times. Would you actually entertain inviting these amazing women from our G100 network as maybe speakers for the children that you train?
Yeah, I think this is wonderful opportunity for the children to really connect with global leaders around the world, because one of
Mm.
the mission in our program is connectedness, social connectedness with people around the world. So make sure we find the right opportunity. So let us discuss this more later on.
Yes, patience. You hear that? Yes, patience can be a great, wonderful speaker for the children, and they would be over the moon because if she's working, living in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Authentic goods.
Thank you, patience.
Yes, I do. Thank you, patience. Yeah, and diversity is really the new currency, if you ask me. And I had
Yeah.
so much. Thank you, Paula, actually Delgado, my new Portuguese friend. I remember so vividly. We connected so deeply. So many ladies or powerful women leaders connected so beautifully and so deeply in Portugal. And we are actually having so many more real life meetings coming up in the summer, actually in Southeast Asia. So, ladies from the G100 network, you keep an eye out. Yes. Okay, so we have only maybe a little under 2 minutes left. So
Yes.
let me ask you if you have any doses of inspiration you want to share, a quote maybe, or some books
Yeah.
that you are currently reading that you want to share with our audience.
Yeah. Let me share with you my motto: live the moment and enjoy the journey.
Live the
Because we
moment.
only live the present moment. We don't live in the past. Future, we don't know about it yet. So just live the moment, present moment, and enjoy the journey.
Yes. It's very symmetrical. I like it. Live the moment, enjoy the journey, and we'll make it into a jingle jingle. Okay, I'm not carrying a tune right now. I'm pretty brain dead. But this is very catchy. Live the moment and enjoy the journey. Yeah. And so I'm going to seize the last few seconds to mention me both as a Jack Canfield Success Principles coach and also a kind of a girls and women's leadership voice or confidence voice coach. My motto is there are no setbacks. There are only setups. The
Yeah.
setbacks are setting us up for enlightenment, for discovery and recovery, and so some more discovery. And I also thought about something that is what I call the awareness, which is A, then the decision, that is D, and then we take the action, that is A, so it's ADA, and then the celebration, which every time when hi Magali, every time when I meet you and talk to you, I feel like we need to toast each other at the end and just, have bubblies at the end because I celebrate our connection so deeply. All the wisdom you share and the time you're so generous, um, sharing your network, sharing all your experiences and all the journeys and the lessons, both the good and the bad, you share with so many people so readily, giving of your time and your love. And then the last, we have the ADA, and then the celebration, and at the end, it is achievement. So it's like a DACA. I like these acronyms. So I just thought about Adaka today when I walked home. So this is the last thing I want to leave with the audience. And Magali, so nice to see you. Do you have any books you've been reading that you want to share with us? Not
I
necessarily, yeah?
I like reading,
Yeah.
but I would like to introduce a lady. If
Ah,
I might say her Chinese name first.
okay.
杨江女士 is
Ah,
Lady Master Yang Jiang. Actually, she when she passed away back in 2016, she was age 104.
wow. 104 years old.
Yes, she was born in the year of 1911.
Holy smokes,
Yeah.
1911.
So why I shared Lady Yang Jiang? Because she actually experienced the whole century, right?
Yes,
Almost,
yes.
yeah, more than a century. And I really see her as my idol. She's a
Mm,
writer. She's a play writer, a comedy play writer, and
playwright.
yeah, And then she has so much wisdom. But
Mm,
until she was like 100 years old, she learned
mm.
about life. What she learned about life is she wants to actually enjoy se- um, peacefulness and ask for nothing more. If that's what someone that pursue for 100 years and that's the final goal she wants for life, I think this is something peacefulness I want to share with the rest of audience tonight.
Yes, to have peace at the end of each day and be able to smile before you close eyes. So I
Yes,
hope that tonight, if you're in the Asian time zone, in the next couple of hours, you may be closing your eyes for the rest of the day. And I wish that all of you and your families and your loved ones will have that inner peace and that
yes.
smile on your face. Thank you, Magali. Magali says, inspirational woman, we should enjoy and learn from each other. Age is just a number. Absolutely. Just imagine this. What's her name again?
阳光杨绛
Yang Zhang.
Lady Yang, Lady Yang.
She must have been such a legend. I mean, imagine
Yes,
the
she is.
conversations,
She's
yeah, that you can have, could have had with her. And the fact that she lived to be 104, and
yes,
that she talked about her number one, like, mantra, right, or motto is peace. So let's find the peace no matter what happens. So with these notes, I'm going to bid you farewell. And one more time, Polly, thank you so much, not only for this hour and all the preparation that you managed to do with me, but also it was really my fortune. You were one of my major guardian angels from way back when my mother sent you to me. I'm pretty sure about that. Actually, both of my parents from another dimension,
yeah.
they sent you to me when I was lost and when I was so unsure, but knowing deep down in my heart that I had to take a different direction in my life. And I have been so blessed ever since. So thank you again, Polly. And everyone, remember to take down Thrive Hong Kong, www.thrivehongkong.org. And you can support Polly and these underprivileged grassroots children with important life skill training, year-long life training in all kinds of ways. So take care. I'm going to send you goodbye. Okay?
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you for
You are
all the
so very welcome.
wonderful time spent with us tonight. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye. Okay,
bye.
everyone,
Bye
take care now.
bye.